If he wants to make some money, Floyd want to make some money. If he wants to make some money, he could fight
your guy Jake Paul.
No, with him too, but he could fight the guy, not Manny Pacquiao. Manny won't fight him again. But I'm talking
Canelo?
Not Canelo, Crawford.
Oh, Terrence Crawford.
You can't force Usyk to fight anybody. You can't force anyone to fight anybody. You know, the will has to be on Usyk's side.
Can you miss? And because his range control is so good, he's in. His nickname's the cat. He's in like a cat, and he is so accurate with what he's doing. He makes you miss, he makes you pay. That's the art of the sweet science. It is the art of getting hit.
Mike Tyson told Shaq on his podcast that if Floyd Mayweather ever stepped into the ring with Oleksandr Usyk, he would get completely destroyed. Tyson explained that Floyd has been earning huge money in the heavyweight scene without ever facing real threats, relying on his fame rather than taking on tough opponents. He added that whenever Floyd returns to boxing, it's always for the money, never for serious challenges, and he makes sure to pick easy fights while avoiding anyone as dangerous and skilled as Usyk.
I'm going with heavyweight.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Floyd feels like in a different category completely.
He made heavyweight money, but I'm talking about the heavyweight slugger.
Yes. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the heavyweights again.
Huh?
Speaking of Floyd.
No, that's going to come back again.
Okay.
They'll always come back.
Speaking of Floyd, him and Roy Jones been going back and forth. If they were to fight, give me your opinion on who you think would win and why. And would people want to see that fight now?
Well, listen, people are all going to hate on Floyd, so they will want to see the fight. They want to see Floyd get beat. But are they going to fight?
I know they're going back and forth.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they would matter. If he wants to make some money, Floyd want to make some money. If he wants to make some money, he could fight
your guy Jake Paul.
No, with him too, but he could fight the guy, not Manny Pacquiao. Manny won't fight him again. But I'm talking
Canelo?
Not Canelo, Crawford.
Oh, Terrence Crawford.
Oleksandr Usyk has reached a stage in his career where his greatness is already undeniable. With an Olympic gold medal and a record that includes wins over the top fighters, including defeating Anthony Joshua twice, he has every right to leave the sport on his own terms. Yet, the boxing world is still buzzing with speculation about who he might face next, as fans and experts debate possible matchups, exciting challenges, and the fights that could further cement his legendary status.
Which he doesn't have to do, probably, because his legacy is secured. He's done basically everything in boxing. And if he was to retire tomorrow, or what could happen, which has been muted, that he was going to have the Dubois fight, and then he was going to have a celebrity fight, you know, like crossover fight with an ex-MMA or something like that, which for me wouldn't be nice, because I think it would cheapen his legacy in some way. But as Addy said, pounds and pence and dollars are what count in this game.
Andy, have you spoken, or has Spencer Brown or Frank spoken to you? Because to be fair to Frank, I've spoken to Frank twice since the fight, and he does always say it's Joseph Parker next. It's Joseph Parker next, and he says it with a bit of force as well, as though he's promised you guys that you will be next in line. Has there been a conversation with Frank as to what happens with Joseph? Because I almost feel sorry for Joseph now. It's got to the stage where every time I see Joseph, I'm like, okay, look, when are you going to fight? When are you going to fight? And he has this face of, I don't know. And it's upsetting for me as well, just to see him on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's very frustrating for him and for us as a team. But I had a brief conversation with Frank Warren as we were walking back from the ring. I said, it has to be Joe. And he said, we're going to push for Joseph. And Spencer Brown, he said, we're going to push for Joseph. David Higgins, we're going to push for Joseph. But you can't force Usyk to fight anybody. You can't force anyone to fight anybody. You know, the will has to be on Usyk's side.
One possible opponent being talked about is Joseph Parker. While nothing has been officially confirmed, many other heavyweights are also eager for a chance to face Usyk. However, Usyk has stated publicly that he only has one fight left in him, and that comment has only fueled the speculation and made the question of who his final opponent will be even more intriguing.
The will has to be on Usyk's side. The will for Joe is there. He'd fight anybody, and as he's shown, but the will has to be, and the want has to be on Usyk's team.
Put your fighter hat on for me if you can, Andy, again. I mean, I saw, it's funny because the video of Dubois getting knocked out, there's you and Joe in the background, and I can see both of your reactions. When you're watching that, I mean, again, you've seen some of the best heavyweights in the world. You've been in camp with some of the best heavyweights in the world. When you're watching that, are you watching it like myself and thinking, okay, this is an all-time great you're seeing?
First and foremost, I watched it as a fan and I enjoyed the fight. And I thought Dubois started really well. But there's something about Usyk, isn't it? And just this change after round 1, round 2, Dubois was having some success, landing right hands.
Oleksandr Usyk has built a reputation for always facing challenges head-on and never dragging out talks or avoiding tough fights. He earns respect not only because of his talent in the ring, but because he is always ready to compete with anyone when the moment comes. While many fighters get caught up in long negotiations, publicity buzz, and delays from promoters, Usyk keeps everything straightforward. Once a fight is agreed on, he focuses on training and preparation without distractions. This direct and honest approach has made him one of the most respected figures in boxing, valued by fans and promoters alike for stepping up every time without excuses.
The one thing I would say that we have to appreciate from Usyk is how he's so willingly down to fight anybody, right? Typically in boxing, you look at how boxing is structured. You have the Ali Act where a fighter could be like, nah, I don't want to fight him. Okay, well, we're going to strip you of your belt since you don't want to, defend that belt, right? How long does it take us to get a Gervonta Davis to fight, maybe a Devin Haney, or a Ryan Garcia fighting somebody else, right? It takes fucking forever. But now when it comes to Usyk, Usyk, he's a champion. Okay, your next title, person you have to defend against is Dubois. Perfect. Send me the contract. I will be ready. Yeah. You don't get that nowadays in boxing. You don't fucking get that. But when he fights, that's one thing I love about him.
Just beating Daniel Dubois in a rematch, the younger guy, and he's made it look easier against him and schooled him and destroyed him. That is the pinnacle of skill in boxing. That's the pinnacle of the fucking sport.
Oleksandr Usyk becoming a 3-time undisputed champion across different weight classes is not something that happens by chance, and his rise from cruiserweight to heavyweight was about constant improvement, smart preparation, and belief in his ability rather than simply gaining size. He reshaped his style, sharpened his tactics, and proved he could handle much bigger opponents by relying on movement, timing, and endurance, which was clearly seen in his back-to-back victories over elite heavyweights like Anthony Joshua. These wins showed that intelligence and discipline can overcome physical advantages. Outside the ring, Usyk also demonstrated strong character by pausing his boxing career to serve his country during wartime, a decision that earned him deep respect and showed his values go beyond sport. Because of his dominance, adaptability, and undefeated record, many analysts now mention him alongside legends such as Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, and while they fought in different eras and divisions, Usyk's technical awareness, courage, and consistency place him firmly in conversations about the greatest fighters of all time.
How high is Oleksandr Usyk all-time on the GOAT list? I've seen a lot of debate that he's top 5 already, top 10, shouldn't be in the top 10 yet. So here's my thoughts on it. I think you can put him anywhere from like number 4 to number 10 all-time, but he should definitely be in everyone's top 10. 2-division undisputed champion at cruiserweight and heavyweight, and he probably has the 2 best undisputed runs of the 4-belt era. At cruiserweight, he beat everyone in enemy territory. Glowacki in Poland, Briedis in Latvia, Gassiv in Russia, Bellew in the UK. At heavyweight, he beat all the Brits, mostly on enemy territory twice. Joshua twice, Fury twice, Dubois twice. Of that post-Mayweather-Pacquiao era, I think he's definitely the greatest. Now, I have Usyk number 8. For reference, I have Floyd 1, Manny 2, Ali 3, Robinson 4, Duran 5, Leonard 6, Roy Jones 7, and then Usyk at 8. I know there's a whole debate right now about Usyk and Ali. Of course, Usyk's more skilled than Ali, but I think Ali's resume is greater, which is why I have him higher. But I'm curious to know how high people have Usyk now all time, without recency bias.
Floyd Mayweather has built his legacy on making sharp choices both in the ring and behind the scenes, with experts widely agreeing that he only commits to fights that offer big money while keeping risk to a minimum. He is known for being extremely strategic, spending time analyzing opponents and selecting matchups that align with his game plan and protect his perfect record. This careful approach has led to enormous financial success and long-term dominance, but it also shows that he has little interest in taking fights where the danger outweighs the reward. If the financial terms are right and he maintains full control over the conditions, a return is possible, but only against an opponent he believes fits safely within his calculated strategy.
Yeah, you're fighting the best fighter in the world. Yeah. And you're figuring out a strategy of not how do I win, but how do I last?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the strategy. I had a good idea that I wasn't gonna be able to knock him out.
No, but that's not the goal with a guy like that. No,
Like
no. But Floyd is the most precise and most. Floyd doesn't care who watches, who likes. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Floyd only cares about the points. Yeah. If the fight is entertaining, it's for him. It's just a strategy. Yeah. So he's kind of like the beast of fighting. You know, beast is like, how do I get the algorithm and the numbers?
100%.
That's how Floyd is.
Do you think he's the great? You think he's the greatest? One of the greatest.
Every
ever,
great fighter in the world says technically there's nobody better.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan has frequently spoken about the defensive brilliance of Floyd Mayweather, explaining that Floyd can stand directly in front of an opponent and still be almost impossible to hit. He doesn't rely on constant movement or flashy combinations, but instead uses perfect timing, shoulder rolls, and small, precise adjustments to avoid clean punches. This approach frustrates opponents, breaks their confidence, and pushes them into making mistakes. Rogan has pointed out that even when Floyd appears inactive, he is actually controlling the pace and mindset of the fight, showing that his defense works as much on a mental level as it does physically. In a similar way, Oleksandr Usyk stands out for his smooth, intelligent footwork, which allows him to control distance, stay balanced, and dominate opponents with calm precision.
It's all like slight slips away, and it's slight motions, which is all you need to get away from a punch, right? You don't want to move too far. You're wasting a lot of energy, and you can't counterattack. One of the best things about Floyd, and one of the most brilliant things about him, he's one of the most elusive fighters of all time, but he didn't move around. He stood right in front of you and you couldn't fucking hit him. That's true mastery of space and true mastery of technique. In my opinion, he's the best boxer that's ever lived.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not qualified to rank people, but I watched when he was making that ascent towards it. It ended up being 50, you know.
He just fought last weekend. This weekend, yeah, he fought a match against John Gotti's grandson, which is crazy.
That's scary for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons, right? But this is the second time they fought. The first time they fought, it ended in a brawl. Like a bunch of people jumped in the ring. It was crazy because they stopped the fight because they were talking too much shit to each other and holding on to each other too much. So the referee stopped the fight for whatever reason, I don't know. And in this fight was even crazy too because the first referee was terrible. And the referee said Floyd Mayweather hit him behind the head. Absolutely incorrect call. Floyd threw a right hand and it caught him on the side of the head, and the referee claimed that it was behind the head. So Floyd fired the referee in the middle of the bout. He stops the bout. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here."
Because he's the promoter also.
Well, I guess. I mean, also it's Floyd Mayweather. Like, what's the referee going to do? Fuck you? You know, I'm going to stop the fight? Like, also they're in Mexico City. Like, you could get killed. Like, just get out of the ring, buddy. So Floyd throws this punch, and he's
Oleksandr Usyk's movement in the ring has been compared to ballet by Adam Catterall, and the comparison fits well. He moves with smooth, controlled motion, always balanced while constantly shifting angles, making it hard for opponents to keep up. Fighters often appear stiff and awkward against him, unable to match his timing and flow. Usyk's rhythm, pace, and footwork confuse even the most experienced opponents. He is quick without rushing and aggressive without taking unnecessary risks, leaving heavyweights who rely on raw power struggling to contend with his precision and control.
And I did notice his foot movement. He was just moving. He was just moving away, so Dubois couldn't hit him.
Couldn't get near him.
And then when he was punching Dubois, he made him look like in football terms, he made him look like a non-league player. He made him look bad.
Mate, that's the beauty of Oleksandr Usyk. His training with his little mate Vasyl Lomachenko, they came through the pro ranks together, well, amateur and pro ranks together, and their training regimes are completely off the textbook. They don't do it like everybody else does it. There's a lot of ballet, for example, that they use. There's a lot of gymnastics. There's a lot of different techniques, in their training that they incorporate into the game. And you can see it with the way that he fights. He is like a brutal ballerina. His footwork is absolutely sensational. What he does, he stands in range just enough, so therefore the guy that he is fighting believes that he's going to get hit in a moment. So therefore mentally you're constantly working, and therefore you're throwing at times where he's then making you miss. And because his range control is so good, he's in. His nickname's the cat. He's in like a cat, and he is so accurate with what he's doing. He makes you miss, he makes you pay. That's the art of the sweet science. It is the art of getting hit. Hitting.
Lennox Lewis recently shared his admiration for Oleksandr Usyk, saying he would have welcomed the challenge of facing him in the ring. Lewis noted that no current fighter has been able to figure Usyk out, though he believes he might have been able to. His comments highlight just how respected Usyk is among boxing legends and underscore the complexity and skill that make him such a difficult opponent. The fact that someone of Lewis's stature recognizes Usyk's dominance only strengthens the Ukrainian champion's growing legacy.
Couldn't catch this IFL TV. Appreciate Lennox stopping. A stunning win there for Oleksandr Usyk tonight here at Wembley. What did you make of it?
Great win. You know, he did the right things. He did a lot of good things in the fight. I thought Daniel came out a bit too strong. You know, should have took his time, especially the first round. And, you know, he was overreaching a little bit and he got caught.
Is there anyone on this planet, an active fighter, that can beat this man? He's got back-to-back wins or double wins over Fury, Joshua, and now Dubois. I mean, it's phenomenal coming up from cruiserweight.
It's phenomenal. I wish I was in this era to box, because I would have loved to box him. And, you know, I can't see why nobody can't figure him out. I would be able to figure him out. Oh, yeah, Usyk is the best of this era. And he does the right things. He moves well. He doesn't get hit. And he's elusive. And he's hard to beat.
Lennox, just the final one. What would be your advice to Daniel Dubois? He's come back from losses before, obviously Joe Joyce, etc. But what would your advice be to this 27-year-old lion?
Keep up with boxing. You know, this shouldn't. You know, he should learn from this and bring it to the next fight. I don't think he should quit. I think he's got a long, good life in boxing.
Lennox, much appreciate your time this week. Have you got anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, Lennox Lewis is the best. I laid them all to rest. I'm the pugilist specialist. Nobody can test.
Love that. Top man.
Chris Algieri has given a strong endorsement of Oleksandr Usyk, saying he doesn't just win fights, he makes world-class opponents look ordinary. Usyk's control of distance, timing, and strategy puts him in a class above most heavyweights today, and Algieri believes no current fighter poses a serious threat to him. His approach relies on intelligence and skill rather than brute strength, combining calm, precise movements with complete dominance, which frustrates and outmatches even the toughest challengers. Usyk's career has always been about taking the difficult path. From his early days in the cruiserweight division to becoming the unified heavyweight champion, he never waited for opponents to fade or took easy fights. He faced the best at their strongest, proving himself repeatedly against top-tier fighters. This mindset and consistency have earned him deep respect from fans, fighters, and analysts, solidifying a legacy built on challenge, discipline, and unmatched excellence rather than simply protecting an undefeated record.
Has dropped Daniel Dubois! I'm sorry. I can't help it, man. I fucking love this. Honestly, I fucking love this game. He's missed it! It's over! It's over! Impossible time! Fuck me. I'm sorry for going on like a lunatic, right? But it was unbelievable. And it's funny how this fight all came about, right? The controversy in the last fight, which for me was never controversial. It was a low blow, simple as that. And I don't think we've ever seen Oleksandr Usyk ever look for an easy way to win. In fact, I think of all the fighters on planet Earth, he is the one who takes the hardest road to win. There's no tune-up fights for Oleksandr Usyk. It's the biggest fight in a heavier weight than he should even be fighting at, and he makes life harder for himself, not easier. And I think he has proven his character time and time again. But yet he was accused of not being, you know, a real Christian because he was a cheat. He was accused of deserving an Oscar because he was a play actor and robbing Daniel Dubois of what should have rightfully been his, which was a world title. And after the Tyson Fury fight, Daniel Dubois stepped in the ring and called him out. And Oleksandr Usyk immediately turns to Turki Al-Sheikh and says, Mr. Excellency, make the fight. He had no problem in setting this up. And immediately you kind of think he was in the middle of talking about his, you know, his father, I think at the time. It was an emotional moment. That's a time where when you've accomplished what he's done, you deserve respect. And I think he was disrespected there. And I think he took that personally, in the words of Michael Jordan. Now, in the first round, Oleksandr Usyk did exactly what he needed to do to Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois coming in with a load of confidence, wanting to be the aggressor, wanting to be the dominant bull that he was against Anthony Joshua.
Ali Malignaggi praised Oleksandr Usyk after one of his standout performances, calling it a prime example of modern boxing mastery. Malignaggi highlighted that Usyk's footwork is not just quick, but highly intelligent, constantly shifting angles and subtly adjusting stance and balance to control the fight's pace. This makes it extremely difficult for opponents to predict his movement or land clean punches, often forcing them to overcommit or hesitate, opening up opportunities for precise counterattacks. Usyk doesn't rely only on power or knockouts. He systematically dismantles opponents with accuracy, rhythm, and spatial awareness. According to Malignaggi, this blend of mental sharpness and physical discipline makes Usyk one of the most dangerous and unique fighters in boxing today.
In the rematch, stops him early. Was it 4 or 5? I don't even. I'm so caught up in the moment. I don't even know which round it was. It was 4 or 5. But man, it was in the first half of the fight. What a performance by Oleksandr Usyk. And a lot to discuss here, guys. A lot to break down here. First off, Dubois much more successful in the first fight than the second fight. Was the wet ring? Did the wet ring have anything to do with it? I saw in the post-fight interview, Dubois was asked about why he couldn't land his jab. What do you guys think? Was obviously Usyk's gonna make some adjustments. I think the adjustments are gonna be made in rematches. But did the wet ring? Because I thought the wet ring had a big part to do with why Usyk had some trouble in that first fight. And a wet ring hurts footwork guys more. I was a footwork guy. I've worked out sometimes in wet rings. It's frustrating. I've actually thrown temper tantrums in gyms over rings being too wet. So I mean back in the day, not now. But what I'm saying is, to fight in a wet ring, that had to have some effect on Usyk and his footwork, because he's a footwork guy. And tonight you just saw his footwork was stupendous, magnificent.
That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.